call this meeting to order of the Buena Vista Township Committee. This is a regular Township Committee meeting for Monday, June 25th, 2018. At this time, our clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Kelly.
Here.
Mr. Martinelli.
Here.
Mr. Turner.
Here.
Mr. Williams.
Here.
Mayor Sharilla.
Here. On January 2nd, 2018, notice of this meeting was mailed to the Daily Journal and the press and duly posted in the main lobby of the municipal complex. All requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been met in compliance with the Sunshine Law. At this time, I'd ask we all rise to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have no minutes for approval this evening. I'll now turn it over to Committeeman Martinelli for the announcements and presentations.
Item 5, announcements and presentations. Presentation to first responders representing fire and EMS.
Lisa, do you have a name or introduction you want to handle this then?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
We had a very nice offer made to the fire and rescue community, and we're going to be making some presentations this evening. I'd ask if anybody from the different fire and rescue squads come up through the gate here, or just come to the middle around the microphone.
Okay. Hold on before you guys all come up. So this is a project that started roughly around January of this year. I was potentially looking to do some type of donation of masks to either fire companies or EMS first responders. We brought on a new OEM director, which was Bill Collins, so I reached out to him, and he found a very young individual that does this. He likes to donate masks to first responders, and he's here this evening with 5 sets of pet masks for each of the different fire companies, as well as the township combined in that effort to do one also for BVT EMS. These masks are specialized for pets, whether it's small or large, but Sean Ronan, is it Ronan? Come on up, Sean, and his family generously came together with these packages for each of the individual fire companies, as well as BVT EMS, and he just wants to do a little bit about what they are, and then we'd like to bring up each of the individual fire companies so that way he can do that donation to them. Do you want to tell a little bit about your project?
And bring that mic down a little bit there.
Go for it.
Hi, I'm Sean Ronan. I'm 12 years old, and I started this when I was 7. I wanted to get one for our fire department, and I raised enough money to get our whole township. And eventually, I got enough money to donate to a lot of people in Cumberland County, 20 fire stations, and now I came to Atlantic County to donate to you.
Yeah.
3 different size masks for different sized animals. Large mask, medium, and small. They're used for when animals are in fires and they get smoke inhalation. So if the animal is conscious, you hook this up to the top and you hook it up to the oxygen pack. If they're unconscious, you can take this out and you use an ambu bag to let them breathe. Yeah, breathe for them.
3 different size masks.
3 different size masks for different types of pets. It's not only cats and dogs, it could be birds, ferrets, whatever. For the oxygen flow, the small is 1 to 3, the medium is 3 to 5, and the large is 5 to 6. 5 to 7. The bag can also be used as a restraint for cats if they are trying to call you, you can close the bag over them and then put the mask over them. Keep their head out, but put the mask over them. The leash could be used as a muzzle for dogs, and also if you need to contain the dog, leash. Training video, DVD. It's like 9 minutes long. It's good to watch. It's very informative.
Sean, that's a very impressive effort, I'm going to tell you. Very impressive. So we're your first town in Atlantic County? Oh, thanks for thinking of us.
Now, where are you from?
I'm from Cumberland County, Norway.
Okay. Awesome. It's great to have them here in Atlantic County.
Absolutely. Call us if you need any recommendations.
So I'm going to give Sean the list. He would like to call up each of the individual agencies. So if you could come up to accept the donation from Sean, that would be great.
First, Buena Vista Township EMS.
We'll give picture ops if you guys can stay up. Yes.
Yep, what do you want to
Yeah,
do?
we'll get pictures.
Okay.
When everybody comes up.
Okay, yeah, so stay put when you come up.
You can call the next one. We'll do the next.
Sean, you go ahead.
Richland Volunteer Fire Company. East Vaughn Volunteer Fire Company. Milmay Volunteer Fire Company. Newtonville Volunteer Fire Company. And Collins Lake Volunteer Fire Company.
Just a cross-section of the hundreds of people that are involved in volunteerism in Buena Vista. And we're very proud that you should take the time to come to us and do this tonight. So we're going to have our ace photographer take some pictures.
Everybody smile. Thank you so much, Brian.
I will. Go ahead, Bill Collins. After state police. After state police. Bill Collins.
At this time, I'm going to ask former Township Committeeman Bob James to join us at the microphone, please.
Every so often, our long-term committeeman from the 80s and early 90s comes back from Florida for his annual pilgrimage, and Bob James always comes in, stops at the township, comes to the summer concerts, and spends some time with us. And The last time he was here for a meeting, we were just going into closed door session, and I said, Bob, come back on TV night. So welcome back again to Buena Vista, Bob.
Thank you, Mayor. It's great to be back in Buena Vista Township and to see all the improvements. Sawmill Park, as I remember, it was just a vacant lot with a lot of debris in it. Now it's a thing of beauty with a historic tree. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the recreation parks. I visited all of them recently, and I'm happy to say that they're in great shape. And Mayor, I think this is attributed to Gene Sykes, our road supervisor.
And while you're out of town, we have a new Public Works Director, Brian Johnson here, who has joined our team, and he's right there in the shirt and tie.
Good luck to you, Brian.
Thank you, sir.
The football lighting has been going on for, I think this is our 20th year. Yes, I was here at this meeting 9 years ago when I told you about it. And I asked the mayor, can I come again? For reasons I'll point out. There were three key people responsible for the lighting of the football field in the Mike Debbie Park. The first gentleman, I had to get telephone poles, 65-foot creosoted poles. I called the company in South Carolina, and they had them. $1,000 a piece, $5,000 to transport them up here. So I thought I'd call a friend. This friend of mine was a lecturer in church as I was at St. Mary's and the Mission Church in Richland. 4 weeks later, after I asked him, but he asked one thing. He said, Bob, I'll try and help you. Don't ever reveal my name. I kept that promise, and I never did. I can reveal that name now because he passed away a couple of years ago. That man that got us rolling and saved us $15,000 in telephone poles was Henry Lavari Jr. Next, I was told we had to raise $10,000 for general expenses for the lights, the brackets, and nuts and bolts and everything that went with it. I started calling to raise the $10,000. It wasn't easy. I had people ask me, are you nuts? Are you crazy? You're a Democrat, and I'm a Republican, and you're asking me for money? It went that way. But when I encountered something, I turned it over to Charlie Bailone. Charlie Bailone was our township clerk for many years. And if I had a problem, because he knew everybody, I turned it over to him. With Charlie's assistance, we raised a little bit over $10,000 for general expenses. Last but not least, I had to dig up, or got somebody to help me, come up with 12 to 15 electricians and their trucks and whatnot to come in and do the lighting. I was told it cost anywhere from $60,000 to $70,000. Then one night, while I was reading the paper, my wife, God rest her soul, handed me the phone and said, there's somebody on the phone about lights. That somebody was Benny Marigi. He asked a question of me. He said, Bob, I played ball in your softball league for 3 or 4 years. It was great. I am now the business agent for IBEW in Vineland. And the question he asked me, I'll never forget as long as I live. He said, "Do you need help with the electric?" After saying yes 6 times in 3 seconds, he said, "This is what we're going to do. I will send 3 crews to your Mike Debbie Park each Saturday and Sunday for the next 3 or 4 weeks until the job is done." He says, "One thing I will ask you, we'll need help. We can't pick up these brackets, these lights all by ourselves, these bolts and whatnot, and they're heavy. Right, Steve Martinelli?" Okay, Steve agrees to it. He's a retired BEW man. So we started. They completed it in 4 weeks. Now that it's all done, we had nothing to do but be thankful of the people that made it happen. We did it because we worked together. We did it for the kids of Buena Vista Township. No other municipality putting up lights, they had to pay anywhere from $78,000 to $85,000 for it. I checked. We put them up in Buena Vista Township for nothing, and they did not cost the taxpayers a dime. To that end, I'm truly feel the way that most of you do, that we got to be thankful to certain people. Henry LaVare Jr., Charlie Bailone, Benny Marighi, and the IBEW, particularly the IBEW, because they saved us at least $60,000. Mayor, I talk too much and I'm holding everything up, so get out of your way.
Well, I think everybody's enjoying it up till now.
I thank you for your time, and may God bless you all.
It's always a pleasure to have Bob come back. He's joined us quite a few number of times over the years, and it's nice to be able to tell some living history. Township, in fact, has been working for a couple of years now. I see Bob left the room already. On the Michael Debbie Park going to all LED lighting. We had got an award for that some 2 years ago, between the folks at Green Acres and the technicalities involved. That'll probably be something at this point we'll probably see, if not by the end of this year, sometime in the new year. But the football stadium lights will be LEDs, cost efficient, etc., as well as the baseball and the softball fields. So times changed, but at that time that was a very major undertaking. I remember even seeing a picture or two of Committeeman Martinelli working out there, and I see Anthony Sonati in the audience out there, and some other people I don't mean to ignore if I'm missing it, but it was a real community
And Mayor,
effort.
the lights were donated by the Phillies. Wasn't that where they
Well,
came
some
from?
of them came later from the Phillies, I think, when they
Okay.
closed Vet
That's what I-
Stadium up.
Right, that's
unless
what I
there's any-
remember.
So we've always looked to try to find something beneficial for the township. And next, Steve?
Representing our special events, the chairperson, Beth Conway.
Hi, Beth.
Good evening. As you heard, my name is Beth Conway. I'm chairwoman of special events, and I just want to let you know some things that are coming up, some of the effort that the special events committee puts through to give you some wonderful things and fun things to do in our township. The first and the biggest is going to be our 30th annual Independence Day celebration over at Michael W. Park. That one is going to be taking place on Saturday, July 7th. It's going to be a great day. We've got crafting vendors, merchants, all kinds of food vendors. We have the field will be set up with the Municipal Alliance's drug-free zone. They're going to have a whole field of just family-oriented fun games. So bring the kids, bring the grandkids, bring everybody. We are also going to have several bouncy houses, one of which is going to be a water slide. So bring a towel and an extra change of clothes if the kiddies get wet there. But we're going to have a great day. The DJ, Nikki G, will be playing all day for us. And, of course, the ending fun time of that will be our fireworks at the end of the night, which we're looking forward to. That's going to be a great show. It is every year, and I know every year we enjoy it. So that is the big event, so don't miss that, July 7th. If for any reason there's a rain date, that will be on July 14th. The next thing that we have going is our free summer concert series. That starts this week. Wednesday night will be our first show. Music by Jam. The concerts all start at 7. They go until 9.
And for the locals, that's John Lawley and his new partner. there.
Yes. Yes, that is John Lawley, as you would know him, and his new partner. They do a great job. They will be there Wednesday night starting at 7. Next Wednesday, July 11th. We're skipping July 4th, of course. Everybody's going to be doing their July 4th stuff at home. So July 11th will be our next next concert. That will be the Jack Melton Band. And on July 18th, we have Poor Mouth Henry. And on July 25th, we have the Jim Crane Show. Now, at all of these events, we do have the concession stand open. The ladies of the Special Events Committee prepare foods and snacks and hot dogs and sodas, and we have all kinds of stuff, and they're very reasonably priced. So we have a great time. There's good food. Come on out. Bring a chair or use what the benches that we have there. It's your option. But each night is really fun. And make sure if you do come, you stop by the concession stand and say hi to Special Events. They're the ones that make this all happen for you. We're very proud to be doing that. And I thank you for your time, and Mayor and committee.
One more thing, you named off those groups. Those are the groups that are coming in July, but
Yep.
we also have a full schedule in
Yes,
August.
we have 4 more coming in August. There'll be a total of 8 concerts in full. Yes.
Price is right.
And the price is absolutely right. Who can beat free? But definitely make sure to come on out and see them. And all the information, of course, is on our website, buenavistanj.com, on our special events tab, or on the tables here at the building. We have all the flyers with all the information that you need. Thank you.
Thanks, Beth.
Representing the New Jersey State Police here in Buena Vista Township, the Station Commander, Dave Liberto. Commander, join us at the mic, please.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. This is we take the stats that show up every month here and go over just what's happened in the past month in Buena Vista Township. Calls for service, we had 301 calls. Motor vehicle stops, 457 stops. Criminal investigations, 34. Burglaries, 3. Alarm calls, 43. We had 42 medical assists and only 1 reported overdose, which EMS deployed to Naxalon and the victim recovery. We are currently always doing aggressive drivers and radar details throughout the township. We get a lot of complaints on Tuckahoe, Paynes Mill, Weymouth Mulga Road. So we've hit those in the past. If you do have any issues or problems that you feel you want to come see us or give me a call, someone talked to me earlier. If you don't have my number, you call the station. If I'm there, great. If I'm not, emailing is probably the best way to get a hold of me. If you want to call Lisa, she would have my email. She has my cell phone. You can even she'll give you my cell phone. I'm available 24/7. My assistant is Roger Nicholson. Same thing, if I'm not available, just you can ask for him. And,
Commander, I want to also compliment you. You've been working with our Special Events Committee, and you've been working with them for the Richland Village Festival and now with the Independence Day celebration. And the Commander has done, unlike some predecessors, he's really gone to bat for the town. He brought in the State Police helicopter, K-9 demonstration, also offered patrols to us during these events at no charge, and also the same thing will be happening for the Independence Day celebration. And he actually will come to a meeting and sit there and work with the subcommittee.
Yes.
Any questions, or anybody have anything for me? Anything from the township?
Thank you.
Steve, you good?
I'm good.
All
Everything's
right.
good.
Commander,
Thanks
thank
for
you
your
so
help.
much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Commander, thank you.
Thank you.
Same here.
Representing the Office of Emergency Management, I'm going to ask Bill Collins to come up, join us at the mic.
Now, Bill happened to be in the right place at the wrong time. He was here for the animal breathing presentations, and I just wanted to take a minute. Bill joined us this year officially as our new emergency management coordinator, and he has already taken a number of steps along with our fire marshal, Brian, and basically they're trying to put together a new OEM office for the township. And we have more emergencies than you think about, and I just wanted him to be able to say hello. Longtime high-ranking member of the Collins Lakes Volunteer Fire Company as well.
Thank you, Mayor. What we're trying to do now, Brian and I, we're just trying to update the hazard mitigation plan with the township. Lisa and Kenya have been working great with us, making sure that plan's up to date. We went to training, me and Brian went to training last week for OEM grants at the State Police Barracks. That worked out very well. And of course, we go to the county meetings every month, so we stay compliant with our plan that has been set forth. Other than that, we're working on the incident action plan for the 4th of July, Independence Day. That's about it, what we have so far.
And we just wanted to bring you on real quick to say hello.
Oh,
Okay. Thank
if
you.
anybody ever needs anything, call the township and Lisa or Kenya will get a hold of me. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Welcome aboard.
For some legislative updates, I'm going to ask Assemblyman John Armato to join us at the mic, please.
John is coming directly from Trenton as we speak tonight, from the hotbed of all activity in the state of New Jersey, right,
Did
John?
they pass the budget yet,
that's it.
John?
What's that?
Did they pass the budget
No.
yet? No.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Township Committee. I wish I had better news, but as of today, we still do not have a budget. We have until Saturday at midnight. If we don't have a budget by Saturday at midnight, the governor will shut the state down. So we're getting closer. We had meetings this afternoon. Closer is a relative term. We're only about $850 million apart. With a $34 billion budget, really that is fairly close. It's just a matter of how to get the funds in. Just an update on that. I had legislation in that was passed by the Senate and passed by the Assembly to devote $15.4 million to open space and recreation parks. That's on the governor's desk right now. We don't know if he'll sign it. Also, Assembly Mazzio and myself have gotten another bill to the governor's desk, which is the Jersey Growth Zone, the Garden State Growth Zone, excuse me. It'll go along the Atlantic City Airport. It'll be a mile radius from the center of the airport all the way around. It'll incorporate Stockton is building their aerospace tech building there. We have 2 corporations that are interested, and I just can't divulge those names right now. Actually, they're waiting on the signing of the tax incentives that'll bring high-paying, high-quality jobs in the aerospace field. Also, Stockton is looking to start some type of a program for training. I don't know what the reason is, but somehow we've gotten away from working with our hands. It seems like everybody who is young today is got to go to college, and that's we need carpenters, we need electricians. Those jobs you can go anywhere in the United States to get. Unfortunately, if you're dealing cards, you're limited, and that's what Atlantic County has become. So all that I think is pretty good news. We will pressure our governor to sign these bills. And with the help of Assembly Mazzio and myself, we will diversify Atlantic County. When Atlantic City casinos came in, they were supposed to be the cherry on the top. somewhere along the line, they became the whole cake. And our whole economy revolves around it, and we saw what happened. Thursday, Hard Rock opens, and so does Ocean Club open. About 6,000 jobs. Some of them are good quality jobs. Some of them are entry-level jobs. I got to give a shout out to the Hard Rock. There's a program in Atlantic County. Actually, it's a whole in the state. It's called Drug Court, and we have actually changed that name to Recovery Court. Recovery Court, if you are incarcerated for drug offenses and you complete a 3.5 to 4 year process, that you stay clean, you're constantly tested, you become back into society again with a job, you are graduated of drug court, your record is expunged, and what Hard Rock has done, Hard Rock has says, you send me your graduates and we will employ them. I got to say, thank you to Hard Rock. The worst thing we can do is to have these individuals put back on that street corner with no employment, because we'll know what will happen. So Hard Rock is doing a good job. Applebee's Restaurants is on board, talking to 2 other casinos. So we want to give these individuals a second chance. I think everybody deserves a second chance. So, like I said, that's what we're being to be doing now. Other than that, we're just moving along. If anybody knows me, they know that one of my passions is the heroin epidemic. I have multitude of contacts to get help. All I need is a phone call. I have detox centers. I have beds for recovery. Once again, everybody needs another second chance. And I can debate here with you and that this is a choice or not a choice, but people are dying. I can also debate with you if this is a disease or not, and that's fine. We can debate these things, but understand people are still dying. So what we need to do is move past this a little bit. There's a treatment there's Narcan classes out there. If you go to one of the Narcan classes, you will get 2 doses of Narcan. It's about $73. And I'm sure you all understand what Narcan is. Narcan reverses the effect of an opiate overdose. The problem now is with fentanyl. Fentanyl is actually slowing that process down to where instead of you need 2 milligrams, you might need 6 milligrams. That's 3 shots. So in reality, heroin is not killing you, it's the fentanyl that's killing you. So I have lock boxes that if you know somebody who has an addict in their home, they want to lock up everything, we have lock boxes. The county gives out lock boxes. The county has given out 200 free lock boxes to Stockton because the dorms are so open with people with prescriptions. We have what they call deterior bags. Deterior bags is a bag of charcoal and take up to 90 pills. Put 90 pills in a bag, a little bit of warm water, you seal it, you shake it, you can throw it in the garbage. We have drop boxes. We have drop boxes here at Township. It takes everything except needles or liquids, but any other prescriptions it'll take. Probably every police station in Atlantic County has it. Atlantic County Court has them. Brigantine Court has them. We did a one-day walkthrough of 4 high-rises in Atlantic City with the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office and the Sheriff's Department, Atlantic County Police. One day we took in 90 pounds of pills that were thrown away. So try to understand what a pill weighs. You can see what 90 pounds would look like. People were coming down with shopping bags. It was something you had to really see. I don't know if they had that much room in their apartment to do that. But get them out of your house because just another tool. We need as many tools as we can get. So thank you for your time. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
John, I just wanted to congratulate you that you had recently won the J.P. Cleary Award, and we're very proud to hear that you did. And also we're honored for 50 years of local firehouse service.
No.
No? Go ahead, correct me
Close,
then.
2 years away.
You were
Close, you
helping
were
them.
around 50, okay.
I swear that, yeah, I give them, yes, you're right. I give them certificates.
Well, the J.P. Cleary Award's not easy to get,
No.
you know? Look how long it's taken you to get it.
It was a surprise. But,
Well, it's well deserved. And, you know, if you, I don't know how many here look at Facebook and other things. John is everywhere, every day, and he's always still finding time to be here in Buena Vista. And
Yeah. I mean, it's very cliche to say, but I sincerely mean this. You elected me, I work for you. If you tell me what your problems are, we can work on them. But if I don't know the problems, I can't work on them. And once again, I work for you. Thank you.
Director of the King Community Center, Quentin McClendon.
Thank you, Mayor and Township Committee. I have a brief but exciting report. On Wednesday, we're going to have our 4th annual summer bash to honor the middle school children. We're honoring the children that were either on the honor roll list, 4 Oscar Award winners, and Students of the Month. Right now, we have about 78 people RSVP. We'll be handing out certificates. We'll have a big barbecue for them, and then we'll have an award ceremony to hand them a certificate. And it's been great to work with the Buena Regional Middle School. They helped us get the invitations to those students and individuals that well deserve them. So we'll be having a big old barbecue in their honor. All is invited, so not just those children, but anyone can come and attend the event. And it will be this Wednesday at 3 o'clock. And we're going to go to about 6, or until the food. So that's we'll be having that this Wednesday. Second, today we started our free lunch program. We provide free lunches to all children under 18 years old at the King Center from 1 to 3 o'clock Monday through Friday. Today we have a little over 30 children registered. We handed out lunches today. It's delivered, catered from Wheat Road Deli. So we have the capacity to feed up to 50 kids, and that's where I'd like to see it before the summer ends. We started today. We did 10 meals today. We're expected to have twice as many tomorrow because some people are around. Right now, vacations are kind of kicking in right after school's just out. So we have some kids that are on vacation. And then starting July, we're really going to be hot and heavy because we have partnered with a summer school program, and they're going to be sending their kids over as well. So every day, Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 o'clock. If you can, let us know that you're coming, because we have the lunches, we need the numbers 48 hours before, but we got backup lunches. So if anybody comes, they're going to get it. Okay, we're going to feed you. And that's between 1 and 3 o'clock. And that will run until August 31st. So it'll be every day through then. And that's all I have. That brief report, but like I said, it was exciting for me. This is the first time we had the lunch program there. It's a long time coming. We have games and activities for the kids so they can hang out with us for 2 hours, eat their lunch. And it's a beautiful box lunch. It really is.
Great, Quentin.
Delivered
And,
fresh
you know,
every day.
we wish you the best, and if people are listening and they're interested in having people participate in that lunch program, they should call the King Center.
Give us a call.
Number?
Hey, if you want to help give out meals, we'll be there. Help volunteer with some of the games and activities that we did. We had a few games of Uno going today. We got cornhole. We got the park, which is beautiful. So we will take care of you for those 2 hours, not just feed.
What's the number they should call?
609-704-7262.
Thanks, Quentin.
The Acting Director of our Public Works Department, Brian Johnson.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Township Committee, and Township residents and the public. Public Works been real busy. We got a lot done this month. We had another good turnout for our monthly yard waste recycling drop-off for the residents coming in and dropping off the debris and yard waste. We've been picking up a lot of brush and trees. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of residents that kind of took advantage of the township and public works of picking up storm debris. We've had a bunch of residents hire contractors that cut down a lot of trees and been putting them out in front of their homes. Public Works, we don't have the resources or the manpower to be cleaning up this kind of brush. So, but we do offer the opportunity for you to bring them every first Saturday of the month between 8 a.m. and noon to the Public Works facility and drop it off in the dumpsters. I've been getting a lot of return calls why we haven't been picking up the brush. If you've had a contractor there, that is one reason why Public Works hasn't been showing up, you know, to pick up the debris, because it's just it's overwhelming and it's too much what we can handle at the time.
So do you, when that happens, Brian, you tell them about the drop-off and whatever?
Yes. Yeah, I've been informing the residents, and unfortunately, you know, a lot of the residents that are either elderly or single that hire these contractors, you know, they don't own pickup trucks, or they don't have a way to access, you know, to be able to bring it to the yard. So it's kind of a tough situation.
I know Mr. Turner is working on a couple of things, and David Turner and Steve Martinelli have both met with Atlantic Electric, and I know he's got a report for us tonight, but some stuff that's out there is the obligation of the utility companies to take care of.
Absolutely, Mayor. A tremendous amount of stuff that was left on the shoulders of the road and the corners was from Asplund, which was subcontracted from the electric company, that during the storm, you know, they just wanted to open up the roads and get the trees off the wires, and they did a great job trimming and getting the stuff off the wires, but unfortunately they just left it in piles on the shoulder of the road, and they didn't access or, you know, take advantage of their chippers and take care of the debris.
We've got a few places where there are still trees or limbs of trees hanging on wires, and we're not allowed to touch those.
Correct.
And we're told it's on the list, whether it be Verizon, Comcast, Atlantic Electric. All those different wires represent a different person that can pass the buck to somebody else. So we're aware of it and trying to keep it moving as fast as possible.
That's correct. We've also been trying to keep up on all the roadside grass cutting, along with roadside cutbacks with the boom arm for any site obstructions or anything that's hanging out over the road. Residents, anytime you guys encounter anything like that, feel free to call the Public Works and let us know. We do document and write everything down while we're out on the road driving around doing our job. But sometimes we do miss stuff on back roads that we're not always on, so feel free to call us and make us aware of that. We've been keeping up on potholes as well. Tremendous amount of potholes. We're constantly filling them. And once again, we ask for your help if you guys encounter any kind of potholes. We've been keeping up on miscellaneous building repairs here at Town Hall and the MLK Center. We have 5 New Jersey Transit bus stops being installed throughout the township. So they'll be coming soon. They're about halfway done at this time. The concrete, the footings, and everything is pretty much finalized.
4 of them are on Route 40 and 1 is on Lincoln.
Correct. 4 on Route 40 and 1 on Lincoln.
That was done when the only ones that used to be in the township were on Landis Avenue, where the 553 bus used to go, and still does go, but they split the route. The bus goes one way every other trip, and so we've had some people asking for a place to have shelter, but so many miles of roads, getting 5 of them out of there was like pulling out of the state was like getting teeth pulled, I guess, you know.
We have Atlantic City Electric. They'll be showing up real shortly, returning the power and fixing the lines to the pole at Michael W. Park that we still had down from the storm. Unfortunately, we had a few repairs there that needed to be done first before they could hook up, return the power to the park. Everything is taken care of now, and we should be regaining that power real soon. A lot of large and small repairs to Michael W. Park as well, as we've been prepping for the 4th of July festival. Doing a lot of work to the bathrooms, the kitchen, to the huts, all the buildings in Michael W. Park, so everything is going to be cleaned up real nice and ready for the event and kept nice and clean for the rest of the year.
And do you have the street hockey down there on your list?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Number 9, We are rebuilding. Unfortunately, we had to close the street hockey court for some emergency repairs. We've been putting a lot of time and effort into the court, getting it rebuilt, and that should be up and running shortly, as long as the weather permits and the contractors that are coming in for the resurfacing project, everybody's on schedule.
We're shooting for it being done the Thursday before the July 4th weekend. We're hoping we can make it, but the work that you've had to do is, over the years, some of the woodworking all around the street hockey court has gained the attention of termites and other things, and you've had to do some reconstruction work around there.
Sure, absolutely, Mayor. And unfortunately, when you get involved in a project like that, you can bid the outside of the job, but as soon as you start ripping things apart and you realize the damage that's on the inside that you don't see, it extends the project quite a bit. So we're doing our best, and it was a little bit more than what we expected, but we got it under control, and we're going to handle it. And last and not least, once again at Michael W. Park, the Nature Trail. Nature Trail's getting a full rebuild. Myself, Gene Sykes, and my guys, everybody's been doing an excellent job. Every morning, we kind of have a quick talk before we go out on our work orders, and we all put our heads together, and we came up with some really cool ideas for the Nature Trail. And I can assure you, it's going to be custom tailored and designed to not only keep a solid nature feel while you're getting exercise, but also having informative and information along the way to learn about the surroundings of the area and its inhabitants. So I think you guys are going to be real surprised with the trail, and it's going to be a nice event.
And John Williams will be updating on that with us in a little while. Some more details. They've got a couple other new things they've added in there as well.
Yep.
Mayor, I have a question. I don't know if Brian can answer, or our solicitor possibly. When these contractors come out, so the public would know, should it be part of their contract that they take away the debris, or is that an extra part of the contract, or what should they ask for so they would know what to do next time in this case, these cases you're mentioning?
A lot of times, just from talking and discussing with a lot of residents and showing up and when we're finding these contractors, unfortunately, the residents are some of them are getting taken advantage of themselves, because the contractors are charging them to remove the debris, but then once they know the township puts it out front, they've been putting the stuff out front of the residents, and the residents actually been paying for their stuff to be taken away, but we've been getting it, having to do it ourselves with Public Works, so the residents are actually paying for it twice.
So that's what I mean. If they should review their contract and it's in the contract, then the contractor should be made to do it, and we should check that possibly before we take it away as, as a precaution then.
Right. Yeah, because it all started out as, it was a service to the residents of the township to help out with the storm debris. But, the storm's been over for a while now, and it went from a couple branches and small trees that came down from the storm to 5 or 6 large trees, and somebody clearing their whole backyard and installing a pool. So
Yeah, Lisa, I
It got a
think we
little
could
crazy.
handle a little of this with our newsletters, newspapers, and Channel 9. Put on there that, the intent for cleanup after a storm is only the immediate remnants of the storm, as opposed to,
Right, it's not for commercial or even private clearing for construction purposes.
right,
Absolutely.
let's put that on our list.
Yep.
that's all I have for my report tonight. Thank you.
Brian, are
thank
you
you.
attending the rec meeting tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, yes, I will be.
I would appreciate an update on the Mike Debbie hockey rink
Okay.
for our members that show up tomorrow
Sure,
night.
absolutely.
Gene is coming too, correct?
Yes, correct.
I know the mayor's adamant about opening that rink either before or on the day of the 4th of July festival.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can keep that, running. Our township engineer, Dave Scheiding.
Thank you. We did a report. There's 11 or 12 items on it. I'd like to touch on 4 items. Mike Debbie Park lighting we've heard about tonight. The full design has been completed. Specifications are 90% complete. We're hoping we can get that wrapped up in very short order now. Weymouth-Malaga Road Phase 6 is being funded by the Department of Transportation. This is the last section of road to be completed. It's about 3,300 lineal feet long. All the engineering, the plans, the specifications have been completed, and they've been sent to the Department of Transportation for review and approval. Also, we have Pineland's approval on the project, and we have sent the plans and the applications to the DOT for the detour also. So we're waiting to hear back from the DOT on those two issues. Then, as soon as we get that, we will go out to bid. The third item, Public Works Building. Municipality's doing a 7,000 square foot addition to the Public Works Building. We have the design plans from the architect. They're at 90% complete now. We're looking to wrap that up in short order also and get that to Green Acres for their final review and approval. And lastly, the 2018 local road program. This is a township-sponsored, township-paid-for road program. It involves 9 different roadways throughout the municipality, over 3.5 miles of road. 40% of that has been surveyed and designed so far, and our survey crews are out, and our designers are working on the remainder so we can get that out to bid this paving season. That's all I have.
Thanks, Dave.
I'm going to deviate from the present agenda. I'm going to read into record item 14.
I'm going to do mayor's report first, okay?
That's not weird. Okay.
I just got a couple of quick items on my report, and then we'll be coming back also for the whole township committee. Just wanted the public to know that we have received notice from the state of New Jersey that Route 54 is going to be repaved, I would say sometime in the next few months. They have a substantial paving project that will take place here in Buena Vista from mile 0, which is right at the corner here of 40 and 54, up to mile 6.2, which I believe is the Folsom line. So all of 54 is being paved. There'll also be paving done in Folsom and Hamilton. In addition to that, there is going to be ADA accessible American with Disability improvements to certain corners and intersections. At Weymouth Road and 54 in particular, there will be the crossing signals like we have one in the whole township down in Richland where the hand comes up where the person can see when it's time to cross the road. That's going to be done at Weymouth and 54, which with the school in the area is probably a good thing that should be done. They'll be improving a number of intersections and other work. It's a fairly impressive outline of what they're going to be doing, and that should be starting very soon. I'm sure there'll be some delays, but the last few times they've done this work, they have tended to do it at night on the state crews. So just be aware that we don't have a firm date of start yet, but we've been noticed. The only other thing I wanted to mention and bring up some of it later on is that, as Beth told you a little while ago, the 7th is our Independence Day Festival. Everybody should have gotten a copy of the latest edition of the Hometown News. That should have been in a mailbox a few days ago. All the different activities that are outlined for the event are in there. The regular food and fun and fireworks and music, and also the Municipal Alliance's activities, which are geared towards the children. And we're also putting a little bit more emphasis on the fire and EMS services in the parade and having vehicles on display this year in honor of the 30th anniversary of the Michael Debbie Park Independence Day Festival for Buena Vista. And Steve, we can go on now. I've asked Steve to amend the presentation here because I believe we have some folks in the audience that are looking to make some comments, and we want to try to get to that. We do still have a full agenda after that, so if you can keep that in mind in limiting your time and all, but Steve will read the statement.
Item 14, public comment. The committee welcomes participation of interested organizations and individuals during regular caucus, workshop, and special meetings. However, in order to conduct the business of the township in the most productive manner possible, Attendees will be given 4 minutes, all inclusive, including all dialogue, questions, and responses from both the speaker and the committee for the designated public portion of the meeting. There may be no transference of the speaker's time to other attendees. Please stand up to the microphone at the appropriate time. State your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Okay, before I take a motion, I'm assuming some people are here tonight, from what I understand, about the letter that was received from the township for the farmland property owners. Is that correct? Okay. So I just wanted to tell you a couple of things. You got a letter from us, I think it was 4 or 5 pages long. The top page is from Buena Vista Township. The rest is from the state of New Jersey. And a number of years back, we had people saying to us, well, we don't like the state inspectors coming around and state fire marshals and, reviewing our buildings, and people were getting summonses and fines and stuff. So we brought on our own fire inspector, fire marshal, which is Brian Murray. And Brian has been doing a mostly fine job. The only problem is that, not to everybody's liking, is that he still is responsible to enforce the same rules that the state of New Jersey has for everybody else. Just because we have our own marshal, he can't say, well, we don't have to do this or we don't have to do that policy. I got a call a few weeks ago that the state inspectors, DCA, Department of Community Affairs, wanted to speak with the township, and they basically are looking at farmland owners with structures on them. It could be barns, pole barns, farm labor housing, any number of different things. And that particular situation prompted this package coming out. The state basically said, we put this together some time ago, but Buena Vista now has to have its inspector enforce this particular part of our code, because we have our own fire inspector. And we have to adhere to the rules and all that they have outlined for us, and that's what prompted this letter. If you don't have anything, we use the mailing base that shows everybody that has a farm. I think for the most part, if you don't have a structure of any sort on the farm, or you're just growing Christmas trees or something else, this isn't going to be of any effect or impact on you. If you have certain buildings that were built before a certain time period, there could be some things that may have to be upgraded or fixed. But the state has assured us that they will not disrupt anybody's farm season to do this. That if we come forward and we inspect the property and some work has to be done, your work will not be interrupted in taking care of your current crops and stuff. But the improvements, or if it was a building that was converted to farm labor, it's got to meet the codes, just like your house or any other business or something in the township. And that's what, again, prompted this. So I just wanted to give you that brief intro that while, you'll be dealing with our fire marshal, the situation is one that we're mandated to do, and the state has already apparently passed this some time back, that this is going to have to be done. And it's being done and has been done by the state fire marshal people on a statewide basis already. So we're just joining in. With that, Kenny, is there anything you wanted to say on that?
Nothing, sir.
Lisa, anything?
No, not at the
Okay.
moment.
So I'll take a motion to open now to the public.
Motion to open to the public.
Mr. Williams, Mr. Martinelli, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's now open to the public. Please feel free to come forward, state your name and address for the record, and try to keep in mind we got a whole meeting yet to go tonight, so we'll be happy to hear your comments.
Good evening. My name's Carl Molinelli, 5588 Chestnut Avenue. I'm a vegetable farmer in Buena Vista Township, amongst many of us here tonight. And we feel that there's a misinterpretation with the township and the letter that came down from the state. We did some inquiring. There was a problem in a town nearby here with farm labor camps. And that's what sparked this whole thing. And the recommendation from the state states that the local towns are to take it upon themselves to go look into labor camps and structures to make sure they're up to fire code. And basically, that is the extent of it at this point. Nothing is law. The letters that the township sent to the farmers is not law. We contacted the Atlantic County Board of Ag. We contacted the Atlantic County Board of, I can't think of the name of it now. Was that? Consumer Affairs. It's it's a gray area at this time, and from what we're hearing that, nothing against Brian Murray, but he's been going to some local farms, and he's been giving them a list this long. It's our busy time of the year. We haven't had, past 3 years have been very tough on us. This is one of the worst out of the three. We have a lot of federal and state recommendations that we have to comply with within the next couple of years, and we're just looking for a little bit of support from the township to try to be a little lenient on us and know what's going on before we have to do all these things.
Carl, let me interject one thing. I know this came about, and we were visited by a whole panel of folks from the Department of Community Affairs to bring us to this point with this outline, okay? It's not our intention, I think in year one, is there compliance fees or what's involved?
Right now, there's no fees involved.
Right.
There's no fees involved, but in the upcoming year, 1990 moving forward, there are going to be fees involved for the inspection.
Well, we were told that the letter that was sent to us from the state, the township, the letter the township sent us with the letterhead of the township and the two letters from the state, that is not law. Them two letters from the state are not law.
Well,
It's
I
a
think that-
recommendation.
Okay. Just that anything that's not up to code is
On
the
labor
law.
camps.
Yeah, in the labor camps.
But that don't mean they can come and measure buildings and do all this other stuff
No,
and
I
fuel
mean, I
tanks
think
and.
it's,
I
but
mean,
some buildings have been converted, I think is what they told us.
That's understandable. That's
Yeah.
understandable. But I mean, as far as moving fuel tanks that's been there for decades, that has to be moved and have to have chains around them in case of floods and all. This is what we're hearing is happening.
Okay.
Is there any documentation or something that, you can provide to us that says something different from what we received?
Well, if you read the letter from the state, it says it's a recommendation. That's all it is. It's a recommendation to the local municipalities and towns. And the other thing is that our surrounding towns are pursuing this at this point. And, that's our concern. I said maybe some of the other farmers have some other things to say.
They're what they're pursuing, you said?
They're not pursuing it.
Not pursuing it.
Right.
Well, I mean, again, it depends on who does their inspections, okay? If it's the state may not have gotten there yet. But I will ask that our administrator and our clerk immediately go back with these questions and find out if it's only migrant worker housing that we
Right.
need to inspect for now. I don't think we should be handling an entire list of things that we're looking for, because most of the time, we're not, even in our regular zoning and inspections, we're not out looking for people's
Right.
problems.
Right.
And can we
Carl,
get that
can you give us
clarified?
those names that told you this so that we can verify that with the agency to say this is
It
what
was
they
the Atlantic
said?
County Board of Ag.
Okay,
And
that's
also-
That's Atlantic County.
Atlantic County
Yeah.
Board of Ag,
But
Right?
they
okay?
represent the,
And also Farm Bureau
And the
is
Farm Bureau?
is on
Okay.
board with this. And, then the other thing that comes into play is the Right to Farm Act, too. You know what I'm saying? We don't want our buildings to be unsafe for our laborers.
Sure.
There's no doubt about that. If we have to put new smoke detectors up or CO detectors, I don't think any of us have a problem with it. But they're telling us that we have to number our buildings in case the fire company knows what building's on fire when they pull in the yard. If you go to the building, it's got the smoke coming out of it. I mean, what I'm saying? This is the stuff that we're being told.
well, I think, in my looking over these letters, I don't necessarily see a couple of those items that you're mentioning, But I just will want to get it clarified.
Right.
And I think we'll probably need a few days or a week or so to get clarification to this letter. So
Right.
I think we could ask our inspector to hold back for the moment till we get a clarification if any of these other things are mandated versus what we can do. If it's just the farm housing, I think we should stick with that.
Is it possible that they can get together and write up a letter to the township in response to what the fire official letter from the state is saying?
Yeah,
and
maybe-
what
I
it is?
have it.
Mayor Cirillo,
It's just a
I just want to say
recommendation.
something. Mr. Malinelli, is it possible you could get 3 or 4 representatives from the farming community owners to come in and sit with either Kenya and the clerk, bring your information? I knew 2 weeks ago when I found out about this letter that this was going to be a problem.
Right.
There was no doubt in my mind. But I interpreted the letter as to protect the migrant worker facilities.
Exactly.
Not fuel tanks, not
Right.
pole barns, not that other shit.
I mean-
That's not how I interpret it. And I agree with you. You should protect your migrant workers absolutely positively because you'd end up being liable.
Right.
But we need you folks, or a group of you folks, to sit with our people with your information so we know where we're going here.
Well-
If it's not a law, then it's not a law.
I just looked the letters back over again, and most everything I see in these letters that we sent, which is state-generated letters, not ours, it has to do with the compliance of the buildings to make sure there's the smoke
If
detectors.
they were
and-
modified for farm laborers.
Right, that's
If they
right.
were modified for farm
That's
labor
right,
camps.
that's right. If it's after, and there was a certain date, I think it was after 1977, and it has farm labor, it needs a CO or a
If
certificate.
it was a change of use.
Right.
Right. That, you know, that's
Yeah,
understandable.
and that's what I see in this letter, but I want to get it clarified, so I don't want to put anybody through any more than you need with all the mumbo jumbo in the
Right.
world today. If there's something that we can restate in another letter, but if you could do what Committeeman Martinelli
You have to
said-
do that. You
Well,
have
I
to
was
send
gonna suggest
representatives
that.
here.
I mean, before the letter came out, I think that's what should have been done to begin with. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely, I
And-
understand.
And, you know, the vegetable industry, the farming industry in this area is going down the road that the chicken and egg business did in the 60s, okay? I mean, we're getting all these regulations on us and everything, that all went by the wayside. And our business is following that track.
Right.
So, I mean, we're just looking for a little leniency, and not saying to do anything illegal, but, I mean, we got enough problems without.
This list that you were talking about that Brian has been going around, does it include outbuildings and fuel tanks and?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
It does.
yes.
oh, yeah.
It does.
Now, who's been inspected here by Brian so far? Anybody? Okay.
There's a couple guys,
Okay.
a couple of them here.
So we would appreciate if you could,
We can get
maybe-
a copy from Brian.
yeah, we can
Yeah,
get a copy from Brian. I
and
just
then
wanted to
you'll
know, I didn't know he had actually even began his
Yes, he
inspection.
did.
I did not
Yeah.
interpret that as fuel tanks and
had to.
outbuildings.
Right.
I
Yes.
interpreted it as living facilities for the workers.
And the other thing is, in the letter, the state letter says that we're not supposed to be harassed during our busy time. of year.
Well, I think that's what the mayor
It's a
said.
wintertime thing.
This year, you're good to go.
Right, but I mean, he's going around, and nothing against him, I mean, he's doing his job, you understand what I'm saying, but. I
The
mean,
the only thing is, I can see, Carl, that maybe with the natural instincts of, and we'll find this out for you, I'm not professing anything that I can tell you I know, as a natural thing that the fire inspector is crossing other things along the list on your property that aren't on this particular
Right.
document, okay? And because he sees something that needs to be fixed, he's putting it down. I mean, I remember the day we told, we told the local ice cream stand that they could no longer fry some hamburgers on their grill because they didn't have the fire suppression lids over top, which cost an arm and a leg for people.
Right,
I always thought that was, somewhat unfair, but on the other hand,
right,
so I would like to give us the chance to speak further with Brian, speak further with the state, but do as Steve said, if anybody can bring us any information they've received, or even a letter from Farm Bureau or the County Board of Ag that says this is the only intention of this, I will do our best to see that and the committee will see our best to do, that we get this zeroed in for Brian's purposes for right now.
thank you very much.
Mayor, if I may.
Certainly, Pete. You want to come up?
Monique at the Department of Agriculture is up on this, so you may want to touch base with her.
Who is that?
Monique at the
Monique.
Department of Agriculture.
Okay. And is that, where does she work out of?
She works right out of Trenton.
Out of Trenton?
Right.
All right, that's the key person. Now, we had, like I said, we had some people here. I don't think Monique was one of those people.
No, as a matter of fact, at the meeting with the state fire marshal, they learned from the Department of Agriculture of all the farms throughout the state of New Jersey and broke it down to municipalities, and they were able to verify some of the inspections that they did with farmland having structures on them and that's what triggered it. So that then was expanded throughout the rest of the state of New Jersey. They actually expected us to have this job done by the first week of June, and there was no way that we could have complied with that time frame, being so that we have over 130 properties to inspect via the fire marshal, and he's also part-time with us. So in the process, we hired Bill Collins to help execute this work, and one of the things that we did say that we do not want to hurt farmers because we understand that this is your busy season, and that moving forward after 2019, yes, there's going to be fees assessed. However, the Department of Agriculture at the state level, the Department of Community Affairs, which the fire officials fall under, they're also going to be working together on this. So whatever that we can do to help in your situation, we definitely want to do that. We want to work with you, but we also have to follow what the state had told us to do. We have to roll this out and do these inspections.
I think, like I said, I think we need a week probably to then, if we find differences in here, or at least some of the topics that were brought up that we can say that this inspection is only for that purpose, we can clarify that with another letter and get that out to you. But if somebody else is willing to come forward and talk with the administrator and the clerk, we'd be happy to have you do that. You know, the sooner the better. Tomorrow is good.
Well, I can tell you another thing.
They're talking about.
Wait 1 second, let me see that.
Mr. Malinelli, come back to the microphone, please.
That's the part, because when they do the fire inspections.
They do all of it.
And they do all of it, and they see
He's required.
tanks.
Yeah,
He's
he's required, when the fire marshal goes out, and this did come up in the meeting in which I attended as well with the township administrator and the state fire officials, he has an obligation, regardless of the intent to go out to inspect just for farm labor camps, that if something else comes up in the inspection, he is obligated to report that or indicate that violation. I think what the mayor is indicating, that if some of those other violations are coming about and they are not imminent hazard to your operation, I'm sure the township can work on some type of arrangement for you to be able to come and cure those violations, other than the imminent hazards or the smoke detectors or things that are directly to the labor camps, and which is the direct oversight from the state fire. So that is something that the mayor's indicating. Give us some time to talk to the fire marshal, see what other things that he believes he's starting to pick up at some of these properties, whether they are fuel tanks that you have installed, propane tanks of that nature. Some of those things are required to be permitted regardless of labor camps if you have them on your property. So let us work that out with the fire marshal, see what he has listed that needs to be done immediate, and then what we can work at to help cure those violations on your property in a timely manner,
Okay.
if that helps.
But you just have to keep in mind that we were not required to be fire inspected under the Right to Farm Act. Okay? And like I said, we don't want to see hazards on our farms either.
Right.
But, you know, we don't want to be harassed either. And the other thing I wanted to say is, I know it's a gray area at this point because there's a couple lawsuits pending on this in a neighboring town. And that's why there's not too much information on it, and that's why it's only a recommendation from the state.
Could you tell us which neighboring town?
I'd rather not say at this point.
Because this way,
I'll search it.
we can
I
we
can
can
search
search it, or you could save us a few minutes, and we can have our attorney
That way.
check into that as well.
Supposedly, it all started in Hamilton.
Hamilton, okay.
Right.
Because
That's fine.
it started in Hamilton because the blueberry farmers, they had part-time help, they only need them for 3 or 4 weeks out of the year, and they needed housing space, and they made housing in their buildings. That's where it all started from,
Okay,
Okay.
so,
okay.
okay?
Mr. Malinelli, don't sit down yet. You know that all my adult life, I've had to deal with the state inspectors and the local inspectors, and I know that they can be a pain in the butt.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you what I fear. And it's all about dollars and cents. It's all about the state, being greedy and wanting more and more and more money. But I fear that the state is going to get involved, just like they do in residential homes under new construction, that they're going to try to force their laws and regulations on our farmers. Anybody on this committee will tell you, we are not against the farmers. I was opposed to this crap 2 weeks ago when I saw it, and I'm still opposed to it. I do want you to protect your migrant workers, absolutely, positively. Get the smoke detectors, the carbon monoxide detectors. I'm sure every farmer in this room has a diesel tank for their tractors and a gasoline tank for their tractors. Just make sure that they're secure and that they're protected. That's all.
Right. All right, thank you.
I just want to say something. I read this thing about 15 times. I grew up in the farming community. Pleasantville was farming when I came there 2 years old. And I am not against the farmer. I will be with you guys. This is a bunch of foolishness, okay? Because you have a hard enough job feeding America. You put up this crap here, and they tell you one thing, they send us a letter for one thing.
Right.
Just like the mayor said, we will research it there, and I'll tell you 100%, David Turner's with you guys, and we'll do all we can to help you.
And we need your help.
We
We
appreciate
need you
it.
guys to get involved with
Appreciate
us.
Well, Dick, you just have my phone number.
Throw the papers away.
Yeah.
Throw the papers away, put them in the, where you can't find them. That's how you help them.
Let us-
They
let us-
come chase you.
Let us send you an updated paper before you throw that
Put them in the
away.
back corner.
And our committee is being quite vocal to tie in with the farm community tonight and the types of manure that's available. So they've been getting that across to you. But what else would anybody else, did anybody have some other comments on this that they'd like to talk about? Please come forward.
My name's John Vanini, and I live 3065 Vine Road. I'd like to make the committee aware that we are inspected if we have a labor camp by the state of New Jersey to get a CO. I don't get it where they have to inspect us twice. We have a CO.
Well, that's DCA.
That's DCA.
Yeah, that's through the state division for building. That's if you pull the permits that you need in order to either build and or convert a building. Once that is done and the proper approvals are obtained and the permits are closed, they will issue you a CO, or sometimes it's a CCO or a COA. If you have any of those documents, which is part of what the letter indicates, make sure you have them available, because that means that you did pull the permits, you do have the proper infrastructure for those camps. You can get that directly to the fire marshal. It'll make it easier and faster. That still doesn't negate the fact that he needs to come out to inspect, but if you have those permits, make sure he is aware. You can even call the township clerk's office ahead of time if you have not been inspected. We are also logging those properties that have the buildings, what approvals you do have, what COs you have. We're also backtracking some of that documentation through the DCA. So if you have that, by all means provide that, because that's just gonna make it go a little bit faster, smoother. He's gonna get in and out right on your property.
Okay, thank you.
And the other thing I see in the second letter here, and I'll be very brief about it, is two. One letter says that they want the fire inspectors to look at all commercial buildings on farms. But then the second letter, I see at the beginning, they say they want the fire officials to look for, inspect farms for compliance with the Uniform Fire Code. Well, that covers just about everything that's in a New York phone book, I think. So I guess we want to, we really want to get some clarity on it. But if somebody can come forward with any information, or somebody has a document that, like Mr. Vanini, you already got the approval for some building or something, you could get us a copy of something to show us. It would help us make our case to the state. And I don't know if we can postpone officially what's going on at this moment. But like I said, I hope to have an answer within the week. Yes.
I would say we should postpone it until we get clarification,
Absolutely,
since we're getting
absolutely.
all of this different information.
Dominic, do you think that's within our realm to do?
Well, I don't think they give you there's no, under the law or regulations, there's no drop dead date, especially in this letter. They're encouraging you to start this
But
process.
people have been cited already. We're gonna have to note them and say at this point, don't do anything with that until we get a clarification.
Yeah, if you're going to if you're going to postpone future inspections right now, then it would hold up to those who have already been inspected as well. You got to treat them.
And Lisa, you said unless it's imminent.
Unless they come upon and you do not have any smoke detectors or any CO detectors in those buildings. Obviously, as you guys know, and they said it up here, we don't want those workers to be in any type of danger. So if you know that you have any of those imminent violations that you can cure immediately, cure them. All the other ones that we can either work through or work out, we could definitely do that, but just don't stop on the imminent ones. Still make sure that you at least have your fire extinguishers and smoke detectors and CO detectors or whatever would be required, even if you have cooking in the facility of a commercial grade, make sure that you also have them correct as well, because that all will be part of the imminent hazard.
Marlene Cranock, 559 Tuckahoe Road. I'm here to just speak to your compassion that you said you have to the farmers in this area based on whatever findings take place over the next week, whatever discussion happens, who's ever coming forward. I still ask that you take that compassion to the farmers in the area, understand that they're just at the beginning of their crux of the farming season, and that you delay this first stage process until the end of the farming season, regardless of the findings that you find. If you're truly here to speak to their plight, you would understand that having someone pull in a driveway on a property, when you're talking about people that are getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning and working till midnight, 7 days a week for the next 6 months, you would have some understanding for that.
Yeah, other than those things that are eminent, okay? I don't think there's any reason that we can't modify the plans for our fire inspector, talk to the state, see if we can make some changes in that. But like I said, we'll want to make calls before we get our foot further in our mouth.
And I understand what you're saying, Mayor. Our concern was, as far as for our visitation, was that it was received on a Saturday. Okay, so that would be, out of the ordinary of what we expect. I've dealt with this board, with zoning, with planning, with you all before.
Sure.
And I would never expect on a Saturday to have visitation, let alone that's one of our busiest days out of the week.
Well, that's because of the
to be able
part-time
to,
nature.
right, show somebody around and just the common, the courtesy of let's at least plan a time when we can meet. Rather than the way that it's been happening.
Well,
So-
when we make the phone call to the state, to the fire official, Buena, who's assigned to this area, we'll take that into consideration. And again, we have a part-time fire official that can do the inspections during evening hours and Saturdays. So we would take that into consideration, and we'll present that to the state fire official.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for your comments.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to address the committee?
Julie Akers, Newtonville. I'd like to go back to what we have in our resolutions. Bill Collins has already been hired effective June 14th.
Well, he's a part-time as needed person.
As needed?
But we have to document that. There's not a regular salary or anything involved with that, correct?
There's an hourly rate for that.
I see that.
Yes, and when we met with the state, and we met with the state like about 2 weeks ago, they wanted us to have this completed within 30 days from the issuance of the letter of May 8th. And in order for us to be able to expedite that, we needed to hire on a temporary basis some additional help for the fire official, Brian Murray, who can't really do the whole township within 6 months by himself.
But that doesn't mean he doesn't get, he doesn't.
No, I'm not concerned as much about the pay. It's
Right, but I'm saying it's an hourly situation only.
Okay, but you've already started this process, even though you're looking for more input
Well,
now.
we're not gonna renege on our employees for that part, but we're gonna try to modify what has to be done, or what we could put a stop to that's already been issued if there's a problem, or delay it at least till a later
Right.
time.
So they told us that we needed to act on this right away, and that's why, being so that the gentleman was hired for OEM.
Oh, it's nothing
Again,
against
okay,
it.
no, I
I
understand, I
don't mean
understand,
that.
okay.
But it just seems, and if people do have a concern about having, it's a part-time person, and I'm assuming it's weeknights and Saturdays, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's just something that I think people
Right.
here need to be aware of.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Anyone else wish to address the committee at this time? Seeing none, try to get something done as rapidly as possible. We got this week, and early next week, we'll try to get something back out to you, and tell you what's going on and what we can modify, all right? And then you can come join us again if you're not happy with that, and we'll be happy to talk further, but we'll see what we can come up with. We understand your concern, very much so. I don't think anybody up here has any different opinion. So, with that being said, I'm gonna close the public portion at this time.
Moved.
Mr. Martinelli,
Second.
Mr. Williams, all in favor?
Aye.
Public portion is closed. We're gonna go on with the regular part of our meeting. Thank you for coming out tonight and being heard. Good seeing you too.
Mr. Mayor, okay?
Yes, sir.
Item 7, ordinances for introduction, first reading, 59-2018, amending Chapter 146, flood damage prevention. Item 8, ordinances for public hearing, second reading, there being none. I'll defer back to the mayor for disposition on item 7.
The ordinance under number 7 is just an adjustment to our existing chapter of flood damage prevention, or Dave?
Yes, no, Dominic, I'm gonna pass it to
Dominic? Yes, you put that together.
Yeah, I mean, I can't sit up here and go, there's a lot of
overview.
modifications, but it was basically just based on the new, the state law, the regulations. The state reached out. I think they review all the municipalities' flood damage prevention ordinances on a somewhat routine basis, and if they see that you may have not brought your ordinance up to the current code, they send you a nice reminder letter. Hey, the law's updated, here are the new additions, and they kind of spell it out for the municipality where they should be making their amendments to their current chapter to bring it up to code. So all we are doing is taking the state's recommendations to add to our current chapter to bring it up to the current law. So that's all it's doing. It's not adding anything additional. It's just bringing it right in line.
Just so the Flood Act is the same in each place that you go to, or
Correct.
similar.
Correct.
Okay, so this is just for introduction tonight. I would need and we will have a public hearing on it. What's the date of that?
I have it scheduled for July 23rd, 2018.
July 23rd, we'll have a public hearing on this. For the moment, we'll need a motion to introduce this on first reading.
Motion to introduce?
Mrs. Kelly?
Second.
Mr. Williams? Roll call?
Turner,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Martinelli,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Shirillo.
Yes. And as Steve said, there's nothing up for a second reading tonight. Steve, I think, unless somebody's dying to speak again, we could skip number 9 since we added a public portion in already
Okay.
prior to the agenda items.
Okay.
Dominic?
It's permitted.
Item 10, resolutions 150-18, authorized payment of bills in the amount of $1,229,229.90. Of that expenditure, the school tax was $819,035.25. Fire District, $287,540. Consent agenda. Item 11. Consent agenda includes items of business which are not controversial and do not require individual discussion. A motion approving the consent agenda is moved, seconded, and voted upon as one item by the Township Committee. If any discussion is requested on a consent agenda item, it is removed from the consent agenda to the regular agenda. Resolutions 151-18, approve budget amendment, Chapter 159, Clean Communities. 152-18, renewal of plenary retail consumption license. 153-18, authorizing issuance of bond anticipation notes and authorizing execution and delivery of closing documents. 154-18, awarding maintenance agreement to Penn Power Systems for annual maintenance generator service. 155-18, authorize additional contribution to Buena Vista Township Emergency Medical Services. 156-18, appointment of Beth Conway as full-time Secretary, Mayor's Office, Special Events. 157-18, appointment of Bill Collins as temporary part-time assistant to Fire Marshal. 158-18, authorizing leave of absence to Mary McCray. 159-18, authorizing leave of absence to Gia Halls. In closed session tonight, we added 161-18, authorizing settlement of a tax appeal, Lamb versus Buena Vista Township. I'll defer back to the mayor.
All right, well, Steve, I'll tell you, the Clean Communities Amendment is because we received our annual Clean Communities grant of this year $29,230.87. See, we have a license, alcoholic beverage license that came in a little later than the other ones. This is for Tombstone Saloon. That's just for them to, I guess, maintain their license. The other one has to do with a contract that protects the generators that we have both here at the Township Hall and at the Martin Luther King Center. And then we have been in negotiations with our fire districts and the BVT EMS, and we had agreed that if 3 fire districts that are served by BVT EMS, which is Newtonville, Richland, and East Vineland, agreed to increase a stipend to the BVT EMS, that we would contribute an additional stipend. That amount is $5,000, and between the 4 organizations, it gives them $20,000, which to use towards converting to a paid service and some volunteer services, depending on, unfortunately, times have changed. There are only 2 rescue squads in the whole county at this point that are volunteer, and that was Dorothy, and they recently went to full-time EMS services paid, and BVT EMS. Collins Lakes operates half-time with Atlantic Care and half-time with volunteers. But the volunteer rescue squad, at least in this part of the state, is almost becoming a thing of the past, and we have an obligation to provide our residents with emergency medical services. So that's what that is here. Beth Conway, we've introduced you to, is taking the place in the mayor's office, and also special events. And so far, on a part-time basis, she's been doing a very nice job, and we'll be expanding her duties. And then we talked about Bill Collins to help out with this project as an assistant fire marshal. That is good to have no matter what the situation is, because he is all but, I think, graduated. He's certified and taken all the classes to be a fire marshal. And so if there's some time when someone, even under normal circumstances, is not available to help the community, like somebody's on vacation or sick or something, he could still be an asset to the community. 2 employees have medical reasons to be out, and we're putting them in for approval tonight. And the other one was to settle a tax appeal, which is good and be very favorable to the township. That was the Lamb versus BVT. That being said, I would take a motion on all the items 151 to 159 plus 161.
Moved.
Second.
What about 150?
That's all right.
What did I miss?
Payment of bills.
You can go back and do it. You can do this.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'll go back up there. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Well, we do this and then go back.
Dominic was trying to signal
But
me.
then I realized you can still audible and
still
do.
do the
You can
consent.
still do
Okay.
consent.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's why I was like, go ahead.
He was about to move his
Right,
lips, and I thought he
exactly.
wanted water or something, but, no, it's, so we'll take a motion on the consent agenda. Who was saying first?
Moved.
Mr. Martinelli.
That's it.
Okay, Mr. Turner? Roll call.
Kelly,
Yes.
Martinelli.
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Cirillo.
Yes. Now we'll go back up here, I'm sorry, for number 10, item to pay the bills. Steve already gave us a breakdown.
Motion to pay the bills?
Second.
Mr. Williams, Mr. Turner, roll call.
Kelly,
Yes.
Martinelli.
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Cirillo.
Yes. Next, we'll go to Township Administrator for any reports she may have for us.
Mayor, no report this evening.
A lot of Kenya's stuff is tied up between executive session and projects you've already heard about with the engineer and other folks here. We kind of steal her thunder sometimes, but,
And that's okay. So now I have no report.
okay, next we'll turn to Committeeman David Turner to give his report tonight. David?
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. On tomorrow, I will meet with the Atlantic City Electric, their urban supervisor, and also Chris Helero, if I'm pronouncing it right. We're gonna go out and check the brush from the storm that they didn't clean up. We're finally getting to that point. It's been I guess like pulling teeth, but, we kept on it. And we're gonna, get maybe to the final point where they'll have us come back and clean up what they, made in the storm, what the trees that we cut. So we're getting to the end of that particular, I had to really keep on that, every 4 or 5 days I had to call them. I don't think they really wanted to do it, but you have to stay on there. So we're getting to the end of the road on that one. And also, I attended the run for Ricky, for the deputy mayor and Mr. Martinelli. They even got me to walk, I think it was 2 miles, Teresa? And okay, and my wife found out, now I'm in trouble.
Now you're gonna have to walk every night, right?
Every other day, yes. And on Sunday, Mr. Calvin Miller and his brother Leonard, they were inducted as deacons in First Baptist Church Richmond, and that's a big deal. It's a 2-year process. They are residents of this township in Richmond, and I attended that yesterday, Sunday morning, and it was a beautiful thing, to see 2 men of this township, and the deacons in the Baptist church is a big deal. And, really, I'm glad I was there, for them, and, it was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony, and everything. And, that's about all I have.
Thank you, David.
The only thing I had there, I ride the township at least once a week, I try to. And, all I can tell the residents of this township there, that I try my best to be for them, and my motto is, township residents first, and, the time I'm up here, I will continue to do that. That's all. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, David. Committeeman Williams?
Yes, I attended the graduation for Buena on June 15th. There was 119 graduates, and there was $2.5 million given out in scholarship. Committeeman Turner
and myself attended that, and also was mentioned earlier, John Armato got the J.P. Cleary Citizenship Award, and also with Committee Martinelli, we attended the awards dinner for the seniors on May 30th, and that was at the high school. And also on the June 21st, I attended that meeting you mentioned earlier with the fire companies and BVT EMS, and it was on the agenda tonight for an increase of $5,000, number 155-18. And also, I wanted to mention that the shuttle, 5440 shuttle survey was completed on May 22nd, and there was a total of 36 surveys completed. Of the 36 respondents, 56% indicated that they ride the shuttle 5 times a week, and 19% rode at least 4 days a week. 64% of the passengers take the shuttle on a round trip. When they asked the town people where they were coming from, most 39% indicated Hamilton, 19% said Buena Vista, and 8% were from Folsom. To gain a better understanding of how the people find out about the shuttle, respondents were asked how they heard about the shuttle. The majority of people either found out from a coworker, friend, relative, or saw a schedule or poster at a public location. And last month we mentioned that the increase in ridership per day went up to 63. And Quentin, you said it increased even further, right?
Yeah, last month, 1,497 passengers, jumped to 68 a day. We're going into the summer, and the summer months typically generate 20% more ridership just because it's summer. So that's a record number. All the parties were extremely happy today, Pastel Sykes, New Jersey Transit. This is a record number for the shuttle. It actually exceeded the English Creek shuttle ridership.
So
that's an 8-year shuttle.
Wow.
That's a shuttle in year 7. So.
Yeah, and our target for sustainability was marked at 64 per day, so we're exceeding this already. So this is really a good sign.
Very good.
That the sustainability will be continued in the coming years.
And John, I wanted the seniors thank us for the shuttle. She was using it to go visit her husband in the nursing home in Hamilton on a daily basis, and it was very helpful to have a ride there and back. She was very thrilled about that.
She'll be on the
And
video.
also,
thank you. Making one?
They are making a video, yes. There's going to be, it's Civic Eye out of New Brunswick. They're going to be doing a promotional video that's going to be distributed to media outlets, municipalities, to help with the sustainability program that will be coming up.
Nice.
Any other last thing on the shuttle? I think somewhere in the area of 87% of the people surveyed, they'll pay $1 for it. They'll pay $1 fare. They think it's worth $1.
And at some time, the initial funding is going to need some financial support. So that's a good indication that that is not going to be a negative when it hits if you ease in the fare.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
They do see a value in the service.
Yeah. And yeah, that is a value because I recently called for someone cab service. And the cab service from, say, Collins Lakes to Vineland was between $30 and $60 one way. And then the Hamilton was at least $30 one way for a 10-minute ride. And that's the rates that the taxis have at this point.
And also, I just wanted to mention that the Environmental Commission is working on the trail for the Michael W. Park, and it will be finished by July 7th.
Now, at some point, there's going to also be a ribbon cutting or opening. However, the folks from ANJAC who gave us the award to help bring up some of the things up to date cannot be here on the 7th. So they're looking at a couple of dates, and John and I talked about this today. I think they're looking at, I don't know, was the 2nd of July or the
June 29th.
June 29th, so I'm gonna let you follow up on that and just let
Yes.
let Lisa or the committee know what is happening if anybody else wants to attend.
Okay.
Especially so we can make sure that the trail is 100% ready to go, because our deadline for that was July 7th.
Now, the other thing, John, just on the trail, you've added some things in.
Yes.
What have you done?
Yes, we're putting 9 stations in that will, with information on each station, and Brian's been helping us out with those, and we're gonna put plexiglass signs for each location.
We're still working on
You also got some new benches from the ACUA.
Yes, we got some new benches from the ACUA. They were approximately $930, I believe, for 2 of them.
Composite material. like
Composite
all
material, yeah, and they're gonna be put on in 2 of the locations along the trail.
Was that the discount price they gave us?
I guess so.
that. That was the ACUA price.
Yeah. And then today, I know you got some blueberry bushes to put in there.
Yes,
And,
picked up some blueberry bushes from Pinelands Nursery in Columbus, and we're gonna put those in Station 3.
And you're trying to find more indigenous things that can be
Yes, I'm
added
trying
to
to
the
find the
trail
native
as
plants
we-
native to the trail, but it's
Wrong
been a
season.
little difficult.
Yeah.
But it'll come along.
So,
And that's
anything
all I
else,
have.
John? That's it?
That's all I have.
Thank you. Steve, you got anything for us?
Yes, sir. I want to talk a little bit more about the farmers that were here tonight.
Sure.
I think that same mailing list that went out to these folks, I think there should be a second mailing list go out once we're definitive, or once we can define what exactly is mandated by the state and what exactly isn't. I also believe that this rhubarb that showed up 2 weeks ago, it should have went out last November for the 2018 growing season. That young lady that spoke tonight, she's absolutely right. They're right in the crux of how they raise their crops. And I think it's unfair, and I think it's too much to ask, unless, like somebody said here, there's an imminent danger to life and safety, like the smoke detectors, like the carbon monoxide detectors. But I'd like to see those same letters go out once we define what exactly the state wants and what kind of leeway they'll give us for this growing season. And I mean it. I was against this letter when I heard about it 2 weeks ago, and I'm still against it, just because of them folks that showed up here tonight.
Well,
Thank you.
And and just to piggyback, I mean, was that, I'm afraid that if we want to look at the main focus, we should look at the main focus, because going through that kind of a list, you're going to be tied up with that for a long time before you get to all these other things. I mean, unless you see something draining on the ground or something that's very dangerous,
If
Can
I
you?
may just interject, when we had the meeting with the fire official, they also distributed to us the letter that was sent to the state construction officials. And I guess the fire official and construction are supposed to be working together on this. And when the mayor and I were talking about verbiage for the letter, that's what both letters came out, one from the fire and then one from the fire to the construction officials to look for deficiencies in other areas as well. But again, we could have even charged them for the first time inspection, because our ordinance allows us to do that, because we're doing inspection based on life hazardous use or whatever it's called, but we're going to waive that for this year.
Don't worry. The fees are coming in the coming years,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I know this is going to go a lot farther, and these people are going to be back here ready to stab us.
Well, and the thing is, they had told us, because I wasn't here physically that day, I was on a conference call, but that the enforcement of this, as I understood it, unless I misunderstood something, was to do some inspections, but not force any of those repairs or things during the growing season,
Unless they're imminent.
unless
Right.
they're imminent, okay? And I guess imminent, we just have to find out who the chief ringleader of the word imminent is.
Imminent to the point that if they had to be shut down or vacated, or if they didn't make the necessary adjustments like the smoke detectors, CO detectors, things
Right.
that are for the protection of the building, those is what they considered as imminent.
Gotcha.
If they had different building or zoning or permitting things, that's stuff
That's
that we
local.
could work through it.
Okay.
That's what they considered as imminent.
We'll get on this fast, Steve.
Oh, I know, I didn't say you wouldn't. I didn't.
Teresa Kelly, our deputy mayor.
Yeah, just to add to that, I mean, the problem, you know, and I work for a state agency also, is you have all the different state agencies, 2 or 3 were mentioned that they spoke to, and they don't communicate with this agency, so the rules and regs are all different, and they are the ones that should be getting together to get it right, but as you see, this is how it works when we have to, you know, go to all the different agencies to figure out their interpretation, so them getting together
One
and
hand
doing it.
and the other.
And this is a history, and it just gets worse when you have more agencies involved, but something we'll have to maybe get together ourselves with calling the agencies, each one, the Farm Bureau, the county. I even mentioned about calling Mr. Fisher, the head of farming.
Agriculture commissioner.
And the commissioner, who really would be the top one in this, I would say that.
Well,
So-
you know, I think that's something that maybe I could try to reach out to him tomorrow.
Yes, because he would have, you know, the one oversight of all the 8, working for the one, representing one, and what is this exactly, and putting
Right.
them together. That really should be up at that level.
Right, and that's why I wanted to get them on earlier than normal, because
Yeah.
I understood if they were here, that this was not a night they would have given up otherwise to be here, number one. Number two, that, you know, this is a reaction that came from the letter, and we know that we sent the letter out, so. What else you got for us, Teresa?
Okay, I also attended the environmental committee meeting, which John has mentioned, all the things that are being worked on, and they left, but we were also working on a farm brochure to advertise all our farmers and where they're located, and that should be out by the 4th of July, and then we'll have that for them and for the public to help them out. I saw Newtonville's having a fish fry coming up, and so I wanted to mention that. I forgot to write the date, but I just saw it somewhere.
I'll mention too, you have a new brochure
Where is
for
that?
your
Is
nature
it?
trail also, an updated brochure, correct?
Anyway,
And
I don't have the
they're-
date, but I just saw it somewhere in here.
And
July 14th.
Okay,
just-
July 14th, thanks.
for the nature trail, you have also added like literature boxes like we have by the big oak tree in Sawmill Park.
That's correct. And those came in last week.
Go ahead, Teresa.
Okay, and also we attended the retiring dinner for Dan Benedetto, who after 40 years has retired from the Collins Lakes Elementary School, and we will miss Dan. He was very good principal and always contacted us on behalf of his students. And we also mentioned the Run for Ricky, their 15th annual one, and they used our park, and we attended, and it was very well done, and they have continuously earned so much money for scholarships for the Buena Regional High School, and our hats off to them. And I don't have too much else, Mayor. Father John Cavanera from Our Lady of the Lakes is retiring, and he's been there since 2004, I believe, and he is retiring this month, so we wish him well, and we wish him good luck, too. And just one last thing I think I have to remind people to watch out for turtles. The boxers, I've been saving around 10 in the last 2 weeks on 206. I'd get out of my car, run and help them across. But, I mean, some people, they're like, you know, I can't miss them, but some people, like, they don't even look. It's a shame, but the next 2 weeks are the times that the turtles are going to be crossing the road, so just keep your eyes open and be careful. This is the time to watch out for them, and so my last plea for the turtles, and I think that's all I have, Mayor.
All right. I just have one other item that I have left off of my report earlier. There has been a meeting called on July 2nd for the Public Safety Radio Committee. And July 2nd at 7:30, Collins Lakes Fire Department is hosting it. There's been some complaints from different fire companies that are in our system about some problems. And Chief Donnelly is the head of our radio committee, and I think that if the schedule allows John Williams and Teresa Kelly to pop into that meeting, that would be of help. You should have gotten a letter in your mail.
What time is it?
7:30 on July 2nd. It's a Monday night. We don't have a meeting that night. Only other thing I have is department reports. Tax collections are up substantially. Assessor's report, zoning report, animal control report, and a complete report from the King Center on all their activities. That finishes up my my other comments. And being that we've already done well, I'm sorry, is that something we need to add?
That we were gonna do the cleaning company for a month or something.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. Our cleaning company, which has always been Access New Jersey, is changing some of their programs, and the cleaning is going to end technically on July 1. We're trying to figure out
July
what.
31st.
I'm sorry, July, no, but I'm sorry, the current contract is
Correct.
ending June 30th, right?
Yes.
And they have agreed, although they can't give us a long-term contract, agreed to extend it for one more month till July 31st
Correct.
of 2018, so we have time to look for additional services or work something out different with them. So I guess we need a resolution to extend that agreement, Dominic? Or would that just be a?
You can do it orally. You can make a motion.
Just do it all,
Yeah.
vote on it,
Yeah.
okay. In which case, if anybody would make that motion, I'd appreciate
It'd
it.
be in a motion to authorize a 1 month extension to the agreement with, what's it, Access
Access New Jersey.
I'll make a motion to extend that agreement with Access New Jersey for 1 month time period.
Second.
Second, that's Mrs. Kelly and Mr. Williams. Roll call, please, or all in favor in this case,
Aye.
Aye. Since this is this type of vote. All right, so that should finish us up for this evening. At this time, I would take a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second?
Martinelli, Mr. Williams, Mrs. Kelly. All right, Mr. Williams is yielding to Mrs. Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, good summer, everyone.